welcome to another exciting adventure of the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and you'll have to pardon that brief pause. I had to think for a second. I was about to say the wrong show title. So, sounds like we're going to be having a fun night tonight. Tonight's guest I have with me are an amazing trio. I have met them at a Parapalooza event and a History Haunts and Legends event. We got to hang out, and I am so blessed and grateful that they came on and so appreciative of them. They are amazing, so much fun to be around. And I'm going to stop just singing their praises and let you all experience them. So I am proud, blessed, and honored to introduce you all to Christine and Deanna of Texas Boo Crew
Hey.
and Mudrat.
Hello.
So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for asking us to join.
So I'm going to switch it up because a little bit and go, Mudrat, why don't you introduce yourself first?
All right. Mudrat here, also Chuck. I am with Halfway Haunted LLC. It's the business I run. I do paranormal music. And I like to hang out with these two young ladies here because they're a real hoot.
I would have to agree with that. No arguing there. And so who wants to speak first for the Boo Crew?
I can. I'm Christine, Texas Boo Crew. We formed in 2022, I believe, and originally there were 5 members, and now it's just Deanna and I, and we travel all over Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, wherever we can get into an investigation place. So we love doing it.
Yes, I'm Deanna with Texas Boo Crew, and yeah, we've been friends for a long time, so we've had a lot of experiences together, and it all just came together one day, and we just said we're going to do this. So it's been a lot of fun so far.
Girl, you can tell them we've been friends for 25 years.
Hey, you told on us, but okay.
Well, that's because you guys met when you were in diapers, right?
Yeah, in elementary school.
That's it.
Homeroom class, wasn't that what they called it?
Right.
I was her manager at a retail store, actually. So
yes, my first real job. Well, except for Walmart in high school, but yeah, my first real job outside of high school. She hired me at the mall, and learned how to pierce ears from her, and we became roommates probably the next year or so.
Yeah.
Well, she must have done something right, because if she's piercing ears and you're still friends, she must have been doing it right.
It was kind of hard to mess that up unless you were really bad. You had to be awful.
You had to be awful.
Yeah.
Was it the little ear piercing gun?
It was a gun. Yeah.
It was.
Claire's.
I was actually the trainer for piercing ears. I trained everybody on how to pierce ears. That was my talent.
Yep.
So you're saying there's a whole lot of little girls out there that have just messed up ears now after going to your store. Gotcha.
No.
I'm one of them. She didn't pierce my ears though, but had them done at 7, and they've been crooked my whole life. So it is what it is.
Maybe it's just your ears are crooked.
Probably so.
Could be.
They're not crooked, they're just unique.
Maybe I just hold my head a certain way, right?
He just called you out.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a great
Christine,
radio show. See you guys later.
So, hello, Linda. Linda's asking, what's tonight's topic?
Well, I don't know, Linda. I mean, we can talk about anything. Do you have something you'd like us to talk about?
So what she's saying is we're talking about all things Texas Boo Crew, Mudrat, and paranormal. So
those ladies, those ladies.
That's what we're talking
about.
That guy.
That guy.
that guy.
I love
I'm just
how
here to take
everybody's
photos.
pointing to empty space except Deanna. She's like, that guy up there. She's the only one.
Yeah, we the Texas Boot Crew girls, we met Chuck probably about what 2.5 years ago, Chuck, maybe. And we met
Whenever the first Parapalooza was.
Yeah,
Year
we
and a
met
half,
Chuck.
years, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we met him in Cleburne at Parapalooza, and he walked in and had a bunch of equipment, and I said, I want to talk to that guy. And so we cornered him, and we made him come out and do investigations with us.
He's not lying, you know. I try to get away for years now. Somehow they keep finding where I moved to. It's disturbing. I need help.
Listen, I'm gonna I'm gonna say within 5 minutes of talking to Chuck after meeting him, we were like, okay, we need to hang out with this guy. We need to learn more about what he does and the equipment he uses. And it's just been a good collaboration ever since. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, you
It was
guys
a little bit
say
crazy.
that, but since the first time meeting you, for one, I was the speaker at Parapalooza, but Christine brought out these really cool dowsing rods. And I mean, immediately I saw them and I'm like, I have to go pick those up.
Yes.
You know
Dowsing
which
rods are
ones.
my favorite.
They were your light up ones.
I'm sorry?
They were your light up ones.
Oh yeah, my first generation light up ones,
Yep.
yes. Yeah.
They were in a holster and everything, and I was like, those are cool. I got to get those.
Yeah.
They were so cool. And when she showed them to me before she got them, I was like, hell yeah, you have to buy those. Like now. Like you have to. It's just not a question.
Well, especially now, after knowing you guys for so long, Christine with the dowsing rods, I will say up until I met Christine and actually watched, it wasn't that first time, it was times after that I actually watched her doing the dowsing rods, actually made me a believer in some people being able to do dowsing rods, because whenever I touch them, they just look like helicopters, like flinging around. I can't do it, but she works some pretty awesome magic with those.
Yeah. I don't have a very good response either. I think it's worked once for me ever. And it was only because he was like sitting next to me.
Yeah, you're really good with the questions though.
Well, now I've gotten it to where I can open myself up with the dowsing rods so other people can ask questions and it still answers. And that is a feat upon itself. And I would love to see other people doing it because I really don't know how I do it. And I believe it comes from just, I'm a 20-year veteran of massage therapy. So I think, and I'm a Reiki master and I can see auras and I can feel energies and I've always just kind of shut that off. But when I use the dowsing rods, I can open myself up to that for a safe channel and I get responses like crazy. So
besides that, you're even teaching people because again, like I said, most people, I don't see it with most people, but like my daughter-in-law, you've taught her and she's actually picked it up really well. And she's so thankful that she met you.
Yeah, I love her though. She's getting really good at it. And then same with someone from Phantom Paranormal. If they're on here, I'm shouting you out. They're learning how to do it, and a couple of other people are too.
That's really cool when people share how they do stuff, and that's one of the problems I have is because some of the stuff I do is just like natural. I just do. I don't know how to explain, and so I feel really bad when they come up and they're like, "Explain to me how you do this," and I'm like, I don't know. I can't really explain it, and I feel so bad because I feel like I come off as this arrogant jerk, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm just being honest. I don't know what I do to do it.
Well, at least you realize you're an arrogant jerk. I'm just saying. No, there's so many people. It's such a huge world that anybody that has like the gifts. So it's hard to explain a lot of things. I personally, I can't explain any of it because I don't have any of it. But it's always awesome to see all you guys that do have that and watch you do your thing.
Yeah.
And Chuck, you say you don't have a gift, but I believe you do have a gift because you can do an Estes method like no other, and you can have spirits talk to you. And for some reason, the past few months, they've hated you. So you've got that gift too.
That is true. I can piss off a ghost real quick.
Real quick, but it gives great results. So
It does. It does. In
Yeah.
Estes.
in Estes.
Yeah.
So we have a couple questions, a couple more from Linda. She's asking, do you guys cross over souls during an investigation?
We do not. We're there just to investigate and find out the answers and find out the history and just to prove paranormal is real.
Yeah, and another thing, like a lot of people have questioned me on like what exactly are we in this for? And I think it's all the experiences that we had that we just wanted to prove that something else exists. We're just going to present our evidence though and let you make the decision. I'm not ever going to argue with somebody to show them like, yes, this is real, whatever you want to believe. I know I can sleep at night because we tell the truth and we just present our stuff. And take it for whatever you will.
That's the
I
best
saw
way to
Tay's
be.
on there. Hi,
What?
Tay.
Oh, Tay.
Tay's
Yeah, she's
Paranormal
posted on there.
Files.
She said hi, Boo Crew.
Hey.
Hi.
So I think this one's more for you, Christine.
Yes.
She's asking, dowsing rods have similar ability as a pendulum. Have you used both?
Absolutely. I can use the pendulum, dowsing rods, and ruins. But to be quite honest, my hands kind of shake now, so I stick with the dowsing rods because the pendulum works very well for me. But I want to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is not me doing that.
So one more question from Linda about the dowsing rods, and then I want to touch back about the runes real quick. She's asking, does it matter what the dowsing rods are made of? Which works better?
To me, I mean, copper is the easiest to work with, especially when you're working on them first. Copper is the easiest. Like they mentioned, the EMF dowsing rods or the light up dowsing rods, those are actually metal, so they take more energy from yourself. So those are definitely not for beginners, but copper is the way to go.
Very cool. So how do you use runes in an investigation?
I don't.
Oh, okay. I was like,
if Sharon S is on, Sharon S uses runes on investigations, and it's amazing to watch.
I was just
Most of the time, runes are for like readings.
Yes.
For like people readings, not necessarily the spiritual side, but some people are gifted enough, like Sharon is, that she can actually use them during investigation. It's kind of like we've tried to do something similar with the dead letters that Christine has been using. That's kind of an up and down thing right now. It's a learning process. But yeah, it's something that takes a lot of work and practice to get good at.
So yeah, the dead letters are really unique because it's the alphabet and like think of Scrabble, except with little copper beads in it, and you throw them around, ask the spirits to spell words. And we've actually gotten great results at Hill House Manor of all places, and then that little cemetery in Tioga, that little building in Tioga, the jail, right, Chuck? What was that Tioga jail called? The Caboose.
Yes, the Caboose.
Yeah.
Free location for anybody who ever wants to try to go there. It's in Tioga, Texas. Now you will get strange looks and people will drive up, ask you what you're doing, but it is a free location. It is a jail that was actually used up until the 80s, I believe.
Yes.
I'll have to check that out. I heard of Tioga, but never really had a reason to go until now.
Oh, totally worth driving down there.
Home of the free jail to investigate. We should totally put that on their billboard entrance sign.
Well, they do have a good pizza place too.
Well, that's quintessential because You got to have good food before an investigation.
That is very true.
Yes.
So Kids Like Hell is asking, can you use crystals for what you guys do?
So I typically don't use crystals. I use crystals for protection at work and other places, but I don't typically bring in crystals to locations to investigate or any kind of stones or anything.
I've had to borrow a crystal from Chuck because I was getting touched like crazy. But
you had an attachment.
Most pendulums are made of crystals too, though.
Yes. Yes, but like charged crystals, like stuff like that, I don't bring in.
Protection. We got to keep these safe.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to touch back because Mudrat, you brought up something interesting that I think a lot of people don't think about when they see like YouTube videos or TV shows and everything, is that it takes practice to do what we're doing. We don't just wake up and go, okay, let's go check out this cemetery over here and get all these great results and be like, okay, here's your video, done.
Well, that's definitely true. The practice makes perfect. And of course, nobody's ever going to be perfect. I also don't believe anybody can truly be a professional in this industry. We're all pretty much the same. Nobody's better than anybody else. Some people may have better experience, but doesn't mean that they're a better person. With that, also, anybody who's watching these shows or programs, they, and have never been to an investigation, do need to realize that those shows are cut down to a very small amount of time. We're there for the whole night, and we're lucky, happy if we get like 3 little things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Most of the time, boring.
Yeah, that's what I loved about the original Ghost Hunters TV show. When they first were on, they would be like day 1, investigation, day 2, research, day 3, checking, investigating this location, day 5, evidence review, day 7, sharing with the owner. And it's like now they did away with that, so everybody's like going, oh, so in an hour you got all of this and you were able to look all this up. It's like, no.
Well, that and everything's a demon, and you have to antagonize every location you go to.
Yeah, it's so overrated. I can't stand the stuff that's on these days. I just can't watch it. It's everything is, did you hear that? Oh my God, the demon, it's touching me. It's something just growled in my ear. And we have been on enough investigations to know you're going to have your nights where absolutely nothing happens. You cannot go on an investigation every weekend or whatever your schedule is and have something happen every time. It doesn't happen. So it's just so unrealistic what you see on TV now.
Well, that's why you do more investigations. You do as many as you can. Eventually, you get it to where the frogs start talking to you.
Talk.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Deanna, tell the story because he brought it up.
Okay. So my bucket list place was Myrtle's Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana.
Love that spot.
It was amazing. Christine, myself, and our friend Tabitha went. And we were walking around the place after everybody kind of went inside. Everything was kind of shutting down for the night. There was a pond in the distance. And so we walked around it, and they had these huge bullfrogs out there. And I swear we were hearing them talk, and we just kind of laughed it off. What we heard a name. Was it Andrew? I think we thought we heard him.
It was Andrew, and then it was Edgar, and then
And so we laughed this off. We're like, honestly, we're hearing things. Okay, whatever. So we walk around. We go back and sit at the little table and chairs outside of our cabin. We were staying in the
caretaker's quarter.
The caretaker's cabin. Thank you. And so we were recording. We had EMF detectors out. She had been using her rods, but at this moment she had taken a break from the rods. and just had the EMFs going, and the necrometer on your tablet was going. And we were getting some weird things on that. But we were laughing about the frogs talking, and Christine jokingly says, say one of our names. Say Deanna. Say Christine. And we had been talking about going to the cemetery, and I'd been asking questions about, are you buried there and everything? And Christine just says, say cemetery. And we pause, and I kid you not, and we caught it on video. We hear cemetery. And
I swear.
I have no explanation for it. Nobody else was outside. We were within earshot of the pond, so we could hear the frogs. But to audibly hear that and to get it on recording, that was very strange. But
we all dropped our stuff and we're like, what?
Yeah. We were in shock. So
there's no way.
Now, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, but remember, you talked to the caretaker the next
That's
day.
what I was about to say.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever did watch like the Ghost Hunters episode when they went down there, or any other paranormal show that has featured the Myrtles Plantation, Miss Hester is one of the people that's always being interviewed on that, and she's been there for years, and she gives the tours and things of that nature in the history. And so I see her the next morning after breakfast, and I said, Christine, I have to go talk to her. I want a picture with her. So I go up to her, I introduce myself, and she takes a picture with me, and Christine comes up. She says, I got to say this quietly because people are going to think I'm absolutely nuts. And she says, have you ever had anybody tell you that they heard the frogs talking? And I'm going, oh my gosh, she really said it. Okay. And she looked at us so straight faced and said, absolutely, many times. And we were just shocked. Like, okay, seriously, this really happened? So we still need to send her that footage. But
no, girl, she said spirits talk in many ways. And I was like,
but she said people had reported the frogs talking. So
yes, people have reported the frogs talking many times.
Did you go to the gazebo in the center of the pond?
Yes.
We walked through there for a minute.
Yeah, that's where I heard the frogs the most. And it's like, what was interesting is you could hear them, but you could never see them. It's like they would always be on the other side of the pond, and then you'd go over there and they would be somewhere else. It's like
they were all over the place when we were there. I mean, everywhere. We had a flashlight, we were shining it, and just all you see is like a pond full of eyeballs, and it was just really bizarre.
Probably because it was like frog mating season when we went, Deanna.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even have a nice little house on the pond for them.
Oh yeah.
Really?
They do.
So you were talking to the frogs, but you were also filming frog porn.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to us. I think Tabitha has that footage.
All right. Well, it's been a good night. See you guys. No, I'm just...
That's what we heard. Andrew.
That was the most popular frog.
I was like, he's that bullfrog over there,
But
the big one.
We did the tour for the main house, and I don't recall hearing that name, Andrew, because we were trying to correlate it with something. But it did come through on the necrometer.
Yes.
We had several names. And we even went to the cemetery after that incident with frogs talking. And there were names coming through on the apps, and it was like right by one of the gravestones. We tried to take a picture, but you know how like after it says another word, like you can barely read the one previous.
Right.
It was unfortunate, but pretty cool cemetery down there. I'll tell you that much.
It is. And it also has a pet cemetery in it, and I didn't know it. And
we didn't either.
Or the cemetery we went to, I think it was Grace Cemetery or something it was called.
Was it the big one that has the church on the grounds and all the Spanish moss trees and everything everywhere?
Yes.
It was huge.
and the cemetery stones went to like this creek area.
Oh, we didn't get to go that far back.
Oh yeah, so
there were other people back there.
Well, no, and I'll be honest, we went at night, and I was scared of the spiders. So
no, not only that, right in our path there was a snake skin, and we were like, "Nope, Noodle."
yeah, seeing a snake skin, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, we were like,
we're wearing sandals, and I was like, "This is not a good thing."
Yeah.
Who wears sandals on an outdoor investigation?
It was hot.
That girl.
The other way.
Other way.
That girl.
I feel like we're on the Brady Bunch squares, like we're looking up and down.
Wow.
What was interesting is how I figured out there was a pet cemetery there was we were hearing like cats and like small animals, and there was none around, and we couldn't figure out. But I mean, everybody was hearing them, and then we find out we left, and someone did research online and goes, "There's a pet cemetery right on the back of the church," and we're like, "Oh, that would have been good to know."
Well, that's the part we skipped. And honestly, there was a bunch of animals when we showed up that night. Like we saw like 5 or 6 deer. And what was that little animal we thought we saw? Like we thought it was a fox.
It wasn't a fox. It was something. I don't know what it was.
It was something about the size of a fox, but did not have the tail like a fox. It had a tail, just not one like that.
A mink?
I don't know.
I don't know what's native down there.
I don't either. But we went back the next day, and they had a tour going on, so we couldn't tour, like we couldn't walk around the whole place in church service. But
yeah, we did get to go in the church even in the middle of the night. I was surprised it was unlocked. The lights were on. The AC was on. It was a nice break from the humidity down there.
Right.
But it almost felt like we were trespassing. So
why are the doors open?
I know, but I'm like, is anybody here? It was just kind of creepy.
So we have another couple questions in here, and Linda asked one a little bit earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt. And that was, she found some runes on Etsy's that have only Reiki symbols, and she wonders how they are to be used. I don't know. I've never seen runes with Reiki symbols.
Yeah, I'm a little stumped too. I haven't either. But I'm sure there is a diagram or directions or descriptions somewhere out there.
And here's a good question. I think even Chuck, you might be able to help with this one. Are there any mudras that would be useful for investigations?
I have no clue.
Yeah, Chuck.
I was like, I don't even know what a mudra is. So
mudra is like an energy chant to build up energy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was like, okay,
I was like,
so for that,
she was asking.
I can chant, but I don't think it's going to help anything, you know.
I mean,
we've never tried chanting.
I don't know. When I come into every single location I come into, I don't know. Some of y'all may know me. I'm like, hey guys, I'm here. And I always bring them alcohol and cigarettes and handcuffs and cards. And so, yeah, I come bearing gifts every single time. So I believe that brings up the energy.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has different beliefs and like styles that they want to do, their little habits that they do at each one. But yeah, nothing that I can think of that I could give you off the top of my head that would just make stuff really jump out for you. Go in always with an open mind and ready to expel some of your energy, and you will get a lot more action. But that's the best I could tell you.
Yeah, and mudras have hand symbols. I forgot that part. That's like putting fingers in a certain point. But I would say the only mudra I would think of is probably a protection one. maybe before you start, but beyond that, I don't think there's a mudra to help with investigations. And apparently, there's a video Kids Like Hell is talking about of two guys who hear faint screaming and went to investigate to help this person, but no one was there. It was under a bridge and seemed so real. Is that
For
something that's
us?
known? Hmm?
I'm sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
well, I was saying, she says, is that something that's known to happen in the paranormal? Or is
Depending on
that
the
something
location.
fake?
And unfortunately, these days videos can be easily faked. But it's also, unless you're able to get all of the information at that one time. I mean, there was a time that Christina and I were on the Old Alton Bridge, and we could hear somebody shouting for help. And we're like, okay, is that real, or is that just a voice coming out? It turns out we're pretty sure it was some kids over there messing around, but we couldn't find bodies, we couldn't find people, but we clearly could hear it. It's on a video that we are taking. And then we had a car pull up afterwards going, hey, did you guys hear something? So that's why we're pretty sure it was just kids messing around.
Yeah. Old Alton Bridge, or AKA Goatman's Bridge, it is a hotspot for the college kids, and it does cover large areas, so even if you don't see them there, they could be around. So it is hard to investigate there. Even if you go in the wee hours of the morning, they're still around.
That's kind of a scary time to go, because that's when
And,
the weirdos, the drunkards, and the homeless are there.
and I would say, like a PSA, I would never go out there with just Deanna and I. I would never go out there in the evening with just the two of us.
It is
No,
a free
unless I brought my
location,
Glock.
though.
Huh?
It's a
Unless I
free
brought my Glock.
location. Go ahead.
So I just bring my Glock.
No,
Damn.
not even
Now-
then.
Z.
I am curious because I've been on the Old Alton Bridge several times because it's like 45 minutes from my house. I was with a friend one time investigating, and we were using, I forget what the equipment is called, but it reads the electricity in the air. And it was going up to like 15 to 1,000 in a forest, and there's no power lines. And we're like, and then you would take a step and it would drop, and then we would back up and it would slightly rise. Is that something you guys have had happen there or experience?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is
Christine and
definitely.
Well, let's see. Christine and I at Haunted Hill House Manor, sorry. And then Chuck, I know we've had something like that happen with you not too long ago, but I'm trying to place it.
And that's happened to me at Old Alton Bridge too, many times.
Yeah, Old Alton Bridge is one of those ones. It is an awesome place. Do I think there's activity? Absolutely. Especially, I went out there with Becky Vickers, the lady who wrote the book on it. And I mean, she got some really good results. The only problem is you do have to worry about the popularity, bringing so many people that just want to mess with you. I mean, the college kids and high school kids around here will literally put on robes, go outside and stand in the trees waiting for you to come by just so they can try to make a scene and scare you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that. And I'm wondering, have you guys been since they repainted the bridge?
I mean, yeah, but even though they repainted it, they have now already re-graffitied it over that. So it's just an ongoing process.
Well, I was actually more curious if you think because of the paint, did the activity level change or alter in any way?
No, I
When did
think
they
it's...
repaint the bridge?
Do what?
When did they repaint the bridge?
It was a while ago, months ago at least. But it's still...
I haven't been back.
Yeah, it's still... I work in Denton, so I go by there all the time. You know, there and people will want to go to it, and they know I live here, so I go meet them over there. But they can't keep up with it because there's too many visitors there that are just wanting to be vandals.
And that's unfortunate because, yeah, it was like 2-3 years ago I was doing a video about it, and my previous computer that had all my photos of investigating there crashed, and I couldn't retrieve them, so I was going online and getting pictures, and I was like, wait, when did the bridge get this nice reddish brown hue? And then I was reading, oh, it was painted, and I was like, oh man. And so I'm sure that now the city looks at it and it gets a graffiti to a certain point, and they're like, all right, go repaint it.
Well, that and all the locks that get put on the side rails, they go in there and they cut those off.
Oh, okay.
That
I
there's
don't think
some
I've
sort
ever
of
seen a lock on it.
yeah. It's something about I don't remember the folklore to it, but it's something about you either put like kind of like Mardi Gras beads where you put all your bad juju into it, you lock it there, and it supposedly stays. I've heard it once that way. I've heard something, you just want to put it there as a memory for somebody that you've lost in your life. But I've just heard a bunch of different things with the locks, and so a lot of people will go out there and put locks on the little metal side rails, and the city comes out and they cut them off.
No. Okay. I don't know what the big deal about the locks is, but
It just becomes an eyesore because you one or two is not a big deal, but when you start getting like 100 of them on there, they're like,
Yeah. So Linda has a question for all three of you. What's your most memorable investigation?
I think Deanna's and I are the same, and she was starting to talk about it.
Go ahead.
Would you agree with Deanna?
Probably, yeah. That or my mom's house.
Yeah, either one. So our very first investigation was at Hill House Manor in Gainesville, Texas, which
As a
I love
group.
that place. Yeah, as a group, I love that place. And Deanna and I were upstairs in the fireplace room, and I can't even explain it. We were swarmed with energy, and all of our meters and all of our cat balls were going off. We felt like we couldn't get off the bed. And I mean, the energy just on all of our meters and the cat balls just kept going higher and higher and higher and higher. And it felt like it was just swarming around us. I've never experienced it again, ever, anything like that. And we ended up calling Sandon to help us, like, come up here and get us.
Well, and so you were talking about not being able to trace the EMF back to a source.
Right.
We had that happen. We each had an EMF detector, and I had like this free floating like bubble of energy that it was right in front of that closet upstairs. If you've investigated, you know what I'm talking
Portal
about.
closet.
Yeah. And we tried to trace it to the ceiling, to the wall, to the floor, to anything, and couldn't trace it to anything. And after that was spiking as high as it was, that's when like we had a REM pod in the bathroom going off by itself, cat balls everywhere. It was chaos for a minute, and it was just a whirlwind of like, what is going on?
Energy. It's never happened again like that.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't.
No.
And then when we did my mom's house, we knew that there was something in my mom's house. She had just experiences, nothing like crazy, but something that nudges her bed in the middle of the night when she's trying to sleep. It would open the shower curtain in the main bathroom after nobody was in there. She had gone in and closed it, and she would go in there like later, and it'd be open like a foot or 2 feet. And we had a cabinet that the doors flew open on it a couple of times, which they're pretty hard to open. It's been donated to Chuck now because my parents moved out of state and didn't want to take it with them. And my husband said, hell no, well, that's not going in our house. And so I was like, somebody in my immediate para community needs to have this because we need to do another investigation around it. But we did investigate at my mom's house. It was just Christine and I. And she was using her dowsing rods, and I had the spirit box, and I just got the new portal. I have one of the Paraforce, I think it's Paraforce V5 portal. And we got accurate responses, and we were able to validate by we would ask a yes or no question. It would come through, they would answer on the rods, and then we were getting audible responses at the same time through the spirit box. At one point we asked for a name, and we got a first and last name. It was crazy. And then my mom picks up dowsing rods and can just use them like this, and I'm just like, okay, what's going on? So that was a lot of fun.
Sounds like it. And Mudrat?
I'm going to say it's really hard to locate just one place. Cause I've been all over the place. You got Malvern, Sally, McIntyre, with them to the Haunted Hill House, Hill House Manor, the Texas Jailhouse, Palestine. But I'm still going to say, on the most part, because it's always active every time I go, Haunted Hill House and Mineral Wells. It's, I've heard disembodied voices on a regular. We've seen lights get shut off, footsteps, had hot breath blown in our face, whistles, and, other strange noises, all caught on camera for other people to hear and, experience. And so I'm going to say that that's probably one of my favorite places, and, the one that sticks with me the most.
Very cool.
He made a video to make fun of me there too, because of my experience there.
Well, not everybody's afraid of a bathroom.
I have a phobia of weird bathrooms, and things happen to me there, so it's not my fault.
Now is your time to get people to back you. Join behind you. Tell them your story.
Yeah,
I won't go with her anymore.
What's that?
I said I won't go with you anymore either.
Yeah, so we went to Haunted Hill House for our first time, and it was back when we had a larger group, and I really had to use the restroom by the time we got there because it was about an hour and a half drive for me. And one of the girls that was with us said, I'll go in there with you, and I'll just turn my back and you do your thing. And I said, okay, great. So went in there, everything was fine. I was like, okay, this bathroom is a little creepy, but I can handle it. Later in the night, I had to go, and I was like, I got this. So I go by myself, and something, as I'm like using the restroom, something thumps that cast iron tub, I swear. And I was just like stunned. And I get up and I just get done really fast, and I get out of there. And I come out and I asked everybody, did anything happen to you in the bathroom? Nobody had an experience in the bathroom other than me. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So about 4 something in the morning, we're trying to call it a night. We're too scared to sleep in one of the beds. So us chickens, Christine and I, got my air mattress out of my car, aired it up, and slept in the kitchen for about 2 hours?
2 hours.
But before I crawled in that bed, I was like, I really got to go to the restroom again. So I thought, surely that can't happen twice. Damned if it didn't. I came back so quick. She said, I thought you were going to the bathroom. I said, I did. And it sure did happen to me again. So what are the odds? But something was messing with me.
I seem to see a pattern here. Your mom's house has the shower, which is in a bathroom.
That's true.
You go to the bathroom, and it's a bathtub.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I do have this weird thing about bathrooms, though. Everywhere we go, I'm just like, ugh. Especially with the separate stalls. I don't know what it is. It just gets to me.
The bathroom at Victoria's Black Swan Inn.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been to that one, Michael?
I have. That was actually my first team collaboration, and it was with Ghoul Gals.
Okay, yeah.
Way back.
We did, before we became a group, Christine and I decided to go on one of the haunted rooms, big group investigation things. And we were actually camping out in the yard in front of Black Swan Inn.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, that stupid little powder room right there off that main hall in the front of the house. As small as it is, there's barely enough room for your toilet and your sink and mirror. And I didn't feel like I was alone the whole time I was in there. It is a creepy bathroom, but that whole house just had a creep vibe. So
It did. What was funny for us is we finished investigating, and we were supposed to be sleeping in the outdoor sleeping areas that they have, like the hammocks off to the side, or they were like hammocks there or covered sleeping like sections.
huh.
And they were like, okay, you guys are sleeping out there. And all of a sudden, a storm came in, and they were like, okay, you can sleep in the living room. So we're sleeping in the living room, and all of a sudden, three of us get woken up, and one of my team members was standing at the door, and we're like, why do you have the door open? She goes, I didn't. The wind blew it open, and I got woke up because the stuff I was sleeping on started getting wet, and we're like, what? And realized that the rain was coming in the living room.
Oh my
And
Oh
so
god.
my goodness.
we
Wow.
kind of were laughing that we went into the living room to escape the storm, only to have the storm find us.
That's funny.
That's
Does
crazy.
does that lady and her family still live on the upper level?
They do, and as far as I know, they still don't allow anybody to investigate up there.
Only Ghost Adventures, right?
Apparently, yeah.
Well, if you got enough money, you can pretty much investigate anywhere.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
sure
when
would have,
does... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I sure would have loved to get upstairs at the Myrtles too. We weren't able to go up the stairs, but
So
I'd love to get my hands on
yeah,
that one.
hold on, Dee. Texas Boot Crew is looking for donations to get upstairs at the top of Myrtle's Plantations in Victoria's Black Swan Inn.
Heck yeah. Break out the
You
dough,
know
let's
who you
go. We'll film
probably
it
need...
for you.
You know who you probably need to get on your side for that?
Who's that?
Curious Twins.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh,
they are they do a lot of events down there.
They do.
okay. Nice.
So yeah, and
So what's this that Linda's saying? Does a touch of energy from an outside source every
just
just
center
center?
around the hands, or is it an all over touch? I
That's you,
think
ladies.
when you get touched, do you feel like it's around your hands, or do you get touched everywhere? Everywhere is fair game for you.
Everywhere is fair game for me. I've been touched many places.
The most places I get touched, mine tend to be the same repetitive places. Here, my back, and then my legs.
I like how Christine goes, I get touched everywhere, and puts her head down. She's like,
Well, I mean,
because I figured Chuck was going to tell the story of
Yeah.
Sabine.
You might as well
I,
just go ahead and say it, Chuck. Just go ahead.
I'm not even gonna. That's not for me to say. Just because the ghost thinks you're a whore doesn't mean the rest of us do. All right.
It is what it is.
All right. Let's just say the spirit box. Almost everywhere we go with her, it starts off nice and easy. Very family oriented. By the end of the night, they're like, "Where's that dirty whore? Where's she at? Oh, there she is."
you never
laugh,
know
but
what's
he's
going to
really-
happen.
He's not lying.
And it's funny because we were at the Magnolia and we both had shorts on, and she was getting touched first, and I I honestly think the only reason I got touched on my legs because I stood so close to you for a little bit. But they were all over her and kept going higher and higher on her leg. And we were like, who do you think she is? You think she's a whore? And they were like, yep.
They were
Right
offering pennies. Pennies.
Yeah.
Well, they know the value. Come on.
Yeah.
Fuck. Why do we hang out with you?
At Magnolia, I got to investigate there, and it was a last minute thing because the team I was with, the leads, couldn't make it, so I went with these two ladies, and I was standing in the doorway between the fireplace room and the murderer's room, who we found out was not the murderer, but say that for a different show. But I'm standing, so I'm in the middle of the door frame, 1 foot in, the hallway, 1 foot in the living room, and my shirt gets plucked. And I'm like, there's no way I got my shirt caught on a nail because that would not feel like a pluck. And the ladies were on the other side, and I was like, and they're like, we saw it. We can't explain it, but we saw it.
Oh, wow.
And so that was the most activity I got there, besides a door that was randomly slamming between the newly refurbished kitchen and the old section.
Oh, yeah.
The old section, that kitchen area there, that's where we had all the activity. Like, we really didn't have much otherwise. And it was getting late. Our third party, Sandon, who used to be part of our group, he crashed out because really there just wasn't a lot going on. And then the three of us said, well, let's just do one more sweep. And that's when they came out to talk. So
Yeah. Did you guys go downstairs to the first level?
We weren't allowed.
We weren't allowed.
We weren't. I didn't even know about it until I was watching like the Ghost Brothers being there, and I was like, "Wait a minute, there was more." How
There's
come we
actually
didn't
a
get?
lot more action downstairs. I have actually been on the tour at least, so I've been through the whole house. And, she's, of course, going over everything that's happened in the house. A lot of stuff happens downstairs, but that's not part of what you get with the bed and breakfast that's upstairs. So,
Yeah. Now, is it the first level or is there another level? Because there was the place where they all hid from the Indians and still
there's a
got.
basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was downstairs.
Yeah,
we didn't get to go.
Yeah, there's a basement that they talk about, and if you go on the tour, they take you down into it. But it is also very cool. Now, when we went to do the investigation, I didn't know we didn't have access to all that, so I was like, oh, that's not as cool. But we still had a good time. Now, this is Texas, and it's hot.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The bed and breakfast was nice, but once you go through that door,
Yeah.
And they had the windows open. So like noise wise, we had a little bit of a hard time, like ruling out noise because there was a lot of contamination from outside, obviously. So we didn't really rely on trying to get EVPs and stuff as much in that environment. And it was so hot. I think we literally, and this is gross, but we were literally like dripping in sweat, just like walking through there. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Lesson learned. Put that thing like I don't care if it's the winter. I'll throw more clothes on. I can't necessarily take my clothes off in front of everybody, just because it's hot.
Right.
Yeah.
But
See, that's the thing. Linda, I was just about to answer this for you. Is there a best time to investigate in Texas? It's been eons since I've been there. Yes, pretty much December to probably March, and then maybe if you're lucky, November you could start. But otherwise,
it also depends on the location.
Yeah, are you outside or are you in a place that has AC? And that's the downside. I think a lot of these older homes that we go to, they just don't have the AC and the heat. Like we've froze our rears off at a couple places, and it's hit or miss.
Like Texas Jailhouse, they have AC. The Bolton House has AC. The Magnolia has a little portion. I mean, at least you can get out of the heat and go over
Cool
to
off.
someplace air conditioned. The Haunted Hill House is the first floor is okay. The second floor is just, it'll kill you in the summer. The Hill House Manor, certain rooms. Yorktown has no electricity, so it's
Nope.
it's just whatever the weather is.
That's why we're doing it in the fall when we plan it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we're gonna
almost
go to
have to.
Yorktown in the fall with we've got the Boo Crew, myself. I think MF Paranormal is gonna go there. And don't know who else yet, but it's coming soon.
I
We
know
have our-
Tavern Torches. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
at the end of October. We're going.
So what's funny was with you guys saying, where your first locations were. My first location was Yorktown.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
What a way to start.
I was saying, what a way to start off strong.
I was like, I had no idea what I was walking into, and was down in the basement, and was like, this wall does not look good. And now I go there, and there's like this 1 2x4 spanning it. I'm like, that's, in my opinion, I was surprised that board is still standing.
Yeah, that's kind of why we're trying to get there. That way we can get there before it completely crumbles down.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time at this point.
Yeah. It's the one place is like you look at it and go, how is this structurally possible? I can see through the wall and the wall next to it because it's got such a bow in it. I'm like, I could see into the room and this wall is still standing. I'm like, it's an architectural impressiveness, actually.
Right. Absolutely. And I wish that some of these places could put a little bit more money back into it, but I know times are hard. Like the old park, they did what they could to keep it as nice as they could. Now we have the new owners that are doing some more work to it, but it's still a fantastic place. Really awesome if you haven't been there.
I love Old Park.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Oof.
I'm almost afraid to go back because I felt like Dan and Connie made it the way it was. And so it's like, I don't want to go there and have a bad experience and be like tainting my memory of Old Park. But then again, I'm like, the new owners could be really cool and have another great experience.
Yeah, we don't know until they get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But they travel out of state too, though. I mean, like they went to Louisiana. They went up to the McIntyre Villa, basically Sally House. Those are up in Kansas. Where else?
Beatty Mansion.
Beatty. Yeah, we went to Beatty. That's also a really cool place up there in Kansas. They haven't been yet, but I'm trying to get them to go to like the Malvern, the Squirrel Jail, Villisca Axe Murder House. Get on the road, go take trips, people. It's just a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Linda's saying, isn't there a movie called Haunted Hill House? I think there's quite a few, actually.
There's quite a few.
Well, there's a lot of places called Hill House, but the only actual haunted Hill House is Mineral Wells because they have that. I believe they have that copyrighted now. And then in Gainesville, there's Hill House Manor, and then of course across the United States, there's a lot of other Hill Houses as well.
I think the movie was called The House on Haunted Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're right.
Close enough. And Linda, Old Park is in Ballinger, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's south of Abilene, if I have my geography right.
Yeah, about half an hour south of Abilene.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually a little bit over the hour. Do you guys have to go, or time for a few other questions?
I have time for a few more questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, where is the location that each of you are like, before I retire, if I ever retire from this, I have to definitely go?
Oh my gosh, do I just have to list one?
Right.
Okay, you can list your top 5.
What's my top 5?
Ooh. I
Bless
have
Bless
a big
you.
one. Bless you.
Thank you. I mean, there's Pinhurst, Waverly here in America that are like high up there. I will be going to those at some point. Trans Allegheny.
Oh God, yeah.
But then, I want to go to like the motherland type thing and go over to England, Scotland, where all these things have been there for so long and are so
Elemental.
saturated. France, the catacombs.
My big one, Lep, what is it, Lep Castle in
Yes, Lim Castle.
Scotland.
Yes.
That I have to
Wait,
go see
Lead Castle?
Lep. I think it's
That's
spelled
in Ireland.
Leap. Is it in Ireland?
Yeah, that's
I think it
Ireland.
is in Ireland.
It's over there.
It's in one of those foreign places.
One of them. Yeah, that's definitely on my big bucket list there for sure. We just did one, the Myrtles. So, Christine, I know you have a few more.
Well, I have a desire, and I'm going to do it one day. I want to take like a Route 66 haunted road trip and do like Tombstone and, Clown Motel and Winchester Mansion and whatever else is along that windy road, Gallup, New Mexico. I mean, I would love to do something like that.
Heck yeah.
Pretty much if it's haunted, we want to go there.
Yeah.
I want to go. Small or big, whatever.
I've done Route 66 twice. I didn't get to Winchester, and I didn't get to the Clown Motel, though. But yeah, those are definitely spots I want to go to, and Gallup is weird.
It is very weird. I've done the Route 66 once, but I want to do it haunted style. So,
did you stay at Tucumcari?
Is that where the teepees were?
Yes. It's right after you cross the border of Texas into New Mexico on 66, and it's a little bit off to the side, and like every hotel looks like it's sketchy as all get out. But they're all Route 66 hotels.
No, we didn't when we went. I know we stayed at some teepees and we saw lots of roadside attractions. And I know we stayed in Gallup, New Mexico, and we saw Winslow, Arizona. You got to do all that.
Oh, yeah.
So
you have no wants to go international, Christine?
Oh, yeah, I want to. But they labeled off so many. Yes, I want to travel.
Yes.
Hey, we should do a haunted cruise.
No.
Actually, those do exist.
But okay, where do you go?
As long as it's not called the Titanic.
Ouch.
Wow.
Fine. You know how to swim.
Technically, Christine, it's called Titanic 2 now.
No.
No, thank you.
There was room on the door. There was room on the door for Jack. No.
Oh, I was laughing, but yeah, there was a cruise ship being built, and they were going to call it the Titanic 2.
Oh God.
Not.
That's our final destination. No, thank you.
So one thing I want to ask about, and I was kind of waiting to the end because I didn't know how Mudrat and Dee felt about it, but Christine, you in your bio and talking to me mentioned an alien experience.
Yes.
That caught my interest. I was like, oh, that's a whole show in its own.
Yeah, I've had, and I don't know, can I classify it as alien? I believe it was alien. Could it be UFO? Could it be anything else? It could be, but I mean, that's what I believe my two experiences were.
You got probed.
I mean, maybe. That's what's wrong with me. No.
Just
So
don't go to the ATM afterwards.
Chuck.
No, but in all seriousness and joking aside, though, what happened in those two experiences? Can you share, or do you not feel
Well,
comfortable?
yeah, no, I can give brief overviews. I would say it was like back in 1997, I want to say 1997, 1999, 1996. I was with my son's father, and we were sleeping just like we went to sleep every night. And all of a sudden, the whole bed jolted, but nothing had moved. And a bright flash of like a bright flashing light happened, like a supersonic boom happened. And we had roommates. Everybody was asleep. We woke up. We both experienced the same thing. And then like it was very out of body. It felt like our bodies had like landed on the bed. And we both felt like that. And then for months afterwards, we both had flashbacks of like stuff happening, and we would talk about it and we couldn't understand where it was coming from. And then finally the flashbacks like went away, and that never happened again. And then my second, and I can't explain that. That was the craziest thing. And to have two people say that, and to have both instances and us both reclaiming like the same thing on our flashbacks of stuff. And he did not believe in spirits. He did not believe in aliens or anything. But and then we were driving on Route 66, and between we were heading to Carlsbad Caverns from Roswell, and we had a little girl with us, and we had to pull over on the side of the road at like 3:30 in the morning. And we were outside. We were closer to Carlsbad, and that long stretch of road right there where there is
Oh,
just
yeah.
nothing. And we had and it wasn't a drone, but we had lights come, and like a spherical like thing come at us and like stop down, and you could see it like from up above, and then it came down, and we yanked that little girl up, told her to pee in a cup, and we like sped out of there. It was the craziest thing. You could not explain it. It wasn't a drone. It was something. It was unidentified.
That is really cool. And your first experience, I've heard of other people having the same thing, so I can say you're not crazy. Other people have had similar stuff, so don't
well,
want
it
you
was
to think
valid.
that.
It was validated because he experienced the same thing. If it was just me,
Yeah.
it could have been a crazy dream, sleep paralysis, me jumping around, whatever. So
No, so yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's really cool, and I love hearing about that. And to me, paranormal is the unexplained, and so I'm like, it drives me a little batty when you'll have ufologists that are like, we're not paranormal, we're UFO people, and I'm like, don't you realize the paranormal is the unexplained, so you are paranormal?
Mm-hmm.
But then you get the paranormal people who are like, oh my god, I will never talk about a UFO. Those things, no. And I'm like, really? You're like so narrowing your scope when there's so much out there.
or the cryptids. I want to find me a Bigfoot. Let's go.
I am so like into cryptids. I listened to another podcast, The Dark Swamp, where people write in their stories and he reads them out. So many cryptid stories, and I'm obsessed.
So I had a guest who blew my mind about cryptids, and he said the area he's in, the Columbia River Gorge, there's a nuclear facility there, and in World War II, they couldn't get dolphins to protect it because it was not fresh water. So they actually had a scientist who made these giant fish for food. They hired him to make super animals to guard the base, and they had gators escape. And the Department of Energy actually publicly said, we genetically engineered these gators who can walk on two legs, and they are bigger and stronger and more intelligent. So if you come across it, do not engage it. And then there's now reports of these large cats there that are twice the size of what they should be.
What?
And he's like, so the Department of Energy admitted they were creating cryptids in the
What?
Columbia River Gorge. And so it makes me go, I wonder if the gators escaped, what else escaped, and how many of these cryptids that we've been searching for all these years were actually engineered by our own government now.
True. I tend to lean more into like the Wendigo and skinwalkers and things like that. That stuff really intrigues me.
Yeah. Have you been to San Antonio?
Mhm.
There's a
Yes.
forest that has a whole nest of Wendigos in it.
I don't necessarily want to go seek those out personally. Wendigos, I don't really want to get my face eaten off, you know what I'm saying? But I love the research on them. I love hearing the stories, and
Well, maybe you should go see them. Then you could actually write a book about them. I don't
Yes.
know, kind of like Bigfoot getting with a human. Maybe it could be a Wendigo getting with a woman.
It
oh
could
no,
be,
no.
but not in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah.
It's in a
No
forest.
bathrooms
There
in
are
that
no
book at
weird
all.
bathrooms for you, Deanna.
Of all the things I could write a book on, believe me, I never thought to write anything about a Wendigo. Christine and I have thrown around an idea of a book for a long time, but that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other podcast.
I mean, I could
totally.
write horror, but I could write
Yeah,
horror
it's
or
one of those lady books. Don't lie. Don't
I'm
lie.
like,
It's a spicy book.
you know what? That's not my thing. I listen to audiobooks all the time, and it's always horror novels. I never listen to any dirty stuff, honestly. Uh-huh.
actually, I was totally
Uh-huh.
picturing you writing a book going, I went to all these locations and this is what the bathrooms are like. The haunted bathrooms of
I
America.
could write a book about haunted bathrooms and my experiences in each one.
Oh no,
Like a coffee book with pictures.
more than a book. You need to have a vlog on that. That way people can actually witness it and experience it with you. Go look
Oh,
at this toilet.
if I had the time and patience for that, that would be awesome. I don't have the patience to do all that work. That's a lot.
Bye, Linda.
So, we're getting close to an hour and 15 minutes. So, I want to be respectful of everybody's time because it is late and I know we all have things to do tomorrow and 4th of July is coming up. Ooh, there's a good question. Anything paranormal coming up for the 4th for any of you?
No.
Hot dogs
No.
are pretty scary, but no.
Taking the
Deanna
4th
and I
off?
Deanna and I are going to hang out on the 4th.
Because my birthday's the next day, so
Yeah.
we always celebrate on my birthday or on the 4th.
Oh,
So,
well, happy early birthday.
thank you.
And I'll be sending a message on Facebook now that we're friends.
Right.
That's a story for another show.
One thing I do want to say, para-unity, people. Para-unity.
Right.
Yeah.
Be friendly with your other paranormal people out there, even if it's somebody that you don't like. Be an adult, just you don't have to talk trash. Nobody's better than anybody else, man. We're all in this together. Para-unity, be nice to each other. If you don't like them, just agree to disagree, smile, and walk away.
And move on. The world is big enough for everybody to get along.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like I say, if you don't like the topic we're talking about, watch a different episode or watch a different podcast.
Yep.
But you don't need to trash it.
And if you don't like Texas Boo Crew, I don't care. Just don't talk about us. So
You don't like Texas Boo Crew? You ought to get. Never mind.
I
I'll be nice. I'll follow Mudrat. Be nice. No, you guys have been so much fun. And before I end the episode, do any of you have upcoming anything you want to promote out?
Spooky Spectacle will have a table at that. That's in September in Granbury.
we will.
Yorktown in October, and then I don't know if we're gonna go to Jefferson this year. I know Chuck is all in on the History, Haunts, and Legends, just visiting. We have not done anything to set up tables or anything at those events yet, but that's always a really cool event to go check out and hear the speakers. As you know, you were there last year.
I was. So thank you all. And one thing I want to say for all three of you, and I know Mudrat, this will be a little awkward for you because when we talked, you're like, I'm not really in the paranormal. I kind of do the entertainment side of it, not the actual. But I do mean this for all three of you. From my heart and my shows to you all, thank you for what you do for the paranormal community.
Aw,
Thank you for your service in it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We appreciate you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll have to get you guys back on again because this was so much fun. And I feel like we've just got the tip of the iceberg of knowing all three of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody in the chat room. Thank you to everyone who's watching and everyone who's going to watch. And if you're asleep, do feel the subliminal messaging of waking up and watching this episode. You won't regret it. I promise.
That's right.
I was waiting for Christine to jump in on something.
No, it's past my bedtime now.
Jazz hands.
Okay. So with that, we are going to call it a night, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so that you can see when they come on next and join in all the other episodes as well. With that, good night, everyone.
See you in the
Thank
shadows.
you. Good night.